Hey y'all! Today I'm very excited because we are going to be making some broccoli and cheese quiche. I personally love making quiche because it's one of those meals where you can make it ahead very easily for later and just it reheats great. It's a meal that's easy to incorporate vegetables into, which is super important for me with having small children. It's also very budget friendly. I'll go through the budget breakdown later in the video after we're done. And it's also just super delicious. So let's go ahead and get started. This recipe was adapted from a recipe on allrecipes.com titled Light and Fluffy Spinach Quiche. I've put a link to the original recipe in the description below. I like this recipe because it's simple with not that many ingredients and it's really adaptable. You can switch out the broccoli for other fillings if you prefer. Sometimes I'll add in ham in addition to the broccoli, or I'll do spinach like in the original recipe. So this is a really versatile recipe. So what do we need to make broccoli and cheese quiche? We need 1 pie crust, a 1/3 cup of mayonnaise, a 1/2 cup of milk, 5 eggs, about 6 ounces of broccoli cuts chopped into small pieces, and about 6 ounces of shredded cheese. Now I would recommend shredding the cheese yourself rather than getting the pre-shredded cheese, as sometimes they have the anti-caking agents in them and it makes it not melt quite as well. All right, the instructions are pretty straightforward. We're going to preheat our oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. You put the pie crust into the pie tin. You're going to whisk together some milk and mayonnaise in the bowl until it's smooth, and then whisk the eggs into that mixture. Chop up the broccoli cuts into small pieces, shred the cheese. Then you're going to add the broccoli cuts and the cheese and kind of evenly distribute them throughout the pie shell. Then we're going to pour the egg mixture over the broccoli and cheese. And at this point we want to cover the quiche with aluminum foil, and we're going to bake that for 45 minutes. Then we'll take the foil off the top and bake it for an additional 15 minutes until the top is golden brown and the filling is set in the middle. If y'all are interested in more videos like this, please like this video and subscribe and click the notification bell for the channel. I am trying to grow our community here and I really appreciate your support. Now on to making our quiche. Okay, to get started, we are going to want to preheat our oven to 400 degrees. So on my oven, I just hit bake, and then 400, and we'll hit start. And then now we can go over and start preparing our ingredients. All right, so first off, we need a pie plate or a pie tin. And I am using pre-made pie crust because it's just quicker. Open this and carefully unroll it. This did come frozen, so I just made sure it was thawed beforehand so I can unroll it easily. And I almost forgot, we're going to spray our pie plate. Just to make sure it comes out of the plate well. All right, you can just kind of eyeball it and press it in. I'm trying to stand off to the side here so you guys can see. And I'm just pressing it against the sides. And then I'm going to take a fork and just make some holes in it. You can see there's a little bit of air trapped under here. And I want to make sure that that air has a place to escape when it's heating up in the oven. And I like to go around the sides too. All right, should be good. We're going to set that to the side. All right, next up, we want to get 1/3 cup of mayo. I've actually forgotten to get that out of the fridge, so give me just a sec. All right, here we go. And for this one, I'm just using light mayo because that's what we have. As you can see, this is not a third of a cup. I have made the cardinal sin of not checking to make sure I have all the ingredients for my recipe beforehand. I think when I actually went grocery shopping earlier this week, we did have enough of this, but my husband likes to make his own ranch dressing, which has a decent amount of mayo in it. So we are unfortunately too low, but we're going to go ahead and do it with this amount of mayo, and mayo is just egg and oil, so it should be absolutely fine even if there's less mayo in it. I'm going to put that in my mixing bowl. And I just have this little bowl over here for trash. All right, then we need half of the milk. Since there is less mayo, I'm probably going to put just a little bit more milk in there. Just a little bit more than a half. And now we are going to get a whisk and mix this up. Just have a tiny one. Try to hold this so you guys can see it. Alright, should be good. Now we are going to crack up our eggs. So let me get my garbage bowl here. One. Two. Let's fish out that shell. 3. 4. And 5. All right, I'm going to go ahead and wash my hands off before I touch my whisk again. So we're going to whisk these together. Alright, that looks nice and incorporated. Just going to rest that in there. And next we are going to get our cutting board. And I am going to, these are broccoli cuts. So I got a bag of frozen broccoli cuts, and I had a meal planned earlier this week for another meal to use broccoli in it. And what I did was I took the florets out of the bag, and I just saved the cuts to go into the quiche because most people like eating the florets better. That's why you can get a bag of just the florets, but those tend to be more expensive, and my family doesn't mind eating the stem part. So I'm going to chop these up into smaller pieces. Okay, that looks like that's a good size. So I'm going to scoot these over. Oops. All right. Oops. And then we're going to need to shred our cheese. So I just have some sharp cheddar cheese. This is maybe 5 ounces in this package left, maybe 4. This is a measure with your heart, as it always should be with cheese. All right, and this is a small enough piece where I started getting nervous when I'm grating it, so I'm going to grate just a little bit of this. We have some Colby Jack cheese that's also open. You can put whatever cheese in here you like. All right, that looks like a good amount of cheese to me. All right, now it's time just to put it all together here. So we have our pie shell. Going to put some broccoli on the bottom. And you don't have to layer this. I'm going to layer it a little bit just so that it's kind of a little more evenly distributed. That's some broccoli. We're going to do some cheese. And that is my oven saying it's preheated. All right, then let's get the rest of this broccoli in here. And a little bit more cheese. I'm leaving some of the cheese so that we can put it on the top. And I'm just going to even this out so that it's kind of level. All right, I'm going to give this another little whisk because it's been sitting for a minute. Make sure it's all incorporated real well. All right, and we are just going to pour this over. That looks good. And then we're going to top it with the rest of the cheese. And you don't really have to leave cheese for the top. I just think it makes a nicer crust. All right, and I'll leave these little scraps for my dog to get. Now we're going to cover this with some aluminum foil. And I usually do spray the side that's going to be over the quiche with a little bit of oil. So that when you eventually take the foil off, it's not going to stick to anything if it's risen enough to actually touch the foil. All right, then depending on how full your pie is, we're going to very carefully transfer this into the oven. All right, so the only thing that we have left to do for a while is to go ahead and set the timer. I do need to get back to my day job while this bakes for the first amount of time. So we're going to set the timer for 45 minutes. I definitely don't want to forget that it is in here. All right, so I should hear that, and I will see you when we need to check on it. Bye. All right, y'all, my alarm's going off, so I'm going to turn that off and grab a hot mitt. And we're going to carefully take it out of the oven. Okay, and carefully take off that foil. So this is what it looks like. You can see the center isn't quite set yet. So we are going to put this back into the oven for another 15 minutes at the same temperature at 400 degrees. And we'll go ahead and set our timer for 15 minutes so that we don't forget that we need to take this out soon. All right, next time hopefully it will be nice and done. The filling set and the top browned a little bit. Okay, as you can hear, the timer's going off, so let's turn that off. And let's go ahead and check on our quiche. Hopefully it's done. Ooh, that looks delicious. Nice and cheesy, and when I set it down or jiggle it, there's no big wiggle in the middle, which is exactly what we're looking for in this nice browning with the cheese on the top. Make sure you turn your oven off. Always want to remember that. And we are just going to let this cool in the pan. And that's how you make broccoli and cheese quiche. In the introduction, I mentioned that quiche is a budget-friendly meal. But before we take a look at what this quiche costs, I want to thank you so much for watching this far into the video. If you'd like more content like this, please let me know in the comments, and make sure you like, subscribe, and click the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any of the new videos that I post. Okay, let's look at what the ingredients of this quiche cost. These prices are what we paid when we shopped at our local grocery store, which is a Lidl. Starting with the pie crust, a 2-pack costs $2.29. So one crust is $1.15. It's $3.15 for a 30-ounce jar of mayonnaise, making our third of a cup amount to about 28 cents. Next is our milk. A gallon costs $2.62, which means that a half cup is 8 cents. We buy 18-count large eggs for $4.82, so 5 of those eggs are $1.34. A 12-ounce bag of frozen broccoli cuts is 94 cents. The cuts make up about half of the bag, so that's about 47 cents for the broccoli. And an 8-ounce block of cheese is $1.97, and we use about 6 ounces, so that brings the price to $1.47. So in total, that brings the cost of our quiche ingredients to $4.79, which I think is a quite reasonable amount for an entree that's filling, delicious, and it makes about 6 to 8 servings. The original recipe says 6 servings, but we actually cut the quiche into eighths, and that's how our family eats it. So it does give our family 8 servings. That's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Let me know in the comments below what you think, and I look forward to having you next time. Bye!